Hi, everyone. Welcome back to a bonus episode of Edits History. Today, we are doing another impromptu, unscripted, unplanned Q&A episode. So I asked a couple of my friends in advance this time to send me a few of their deep or weird questions, and I'm going to answer them right here on the spot. So I did have a quick glance at them before the recording today, but I did not prepare any notes or answers in advance. So without further ado, let's dive into the first question. What crime would you commit if it were legal for 12 hours? I would say if it were legal to break into people's houses, I would do that specifically for cat hoarders. Yeah, I would break into cat hoarder houses and rescue the cats and bring them to foster homes and rehome them. That's what I would do if it were legal for 12 hours. Okay. If you were a cult leader, what's your cult name and aesthetic? I would say I'm thinking of like wholesome vibes, but like judgy, wholesome vibes. Like, because I think a lot of people see me and they see someone who's very calm or someone who has like bursts of like wholesome energy. But like, I think what people don't realize is that I'm actually really judgy in my head. Like, I don't say it, but like, I'm actually really judgy in my head. So like, I feel like if I had a cult, it would be like full of other people who are like super wholesome, very calm on the outside. But like in our minds, we're like just judging each other secretly. Um, yeah, I feel like I shouldn't have said that, but anyways. Okay, question number 3. What is the weirdest compliment that would absolutely make your day? Ooh, this is one that I got a few days ago from my sister-in-law's daughter, so my niece-in-law. So she said, why are your eyelashes so long? And I obviously have lash extensions on, but like I honestly am so happy whenever someone compliments my lashes, right? These are not real, right? These are like lash extensions, but like I get so happy whenever someone compliments them. Oh wait, but the question says the weirdest compliment that will make your day. That wasn't too weird. Okay, I think one that I would be pretty happy to receive is, oh, you eat really fast. Because as someone who likes to be very efficient and punctual and just get things done fast, I naturally eat my food really fast. And I know a lot of my friends are like, oh, you should eat slower and like really enjoy the food and like savor it and like let your food digest. But like I am actually really happy that I eat fast because like that means I can like move on to the next thing. So if someone compliments me on like, wow, you eat really fast and they genuinely mean it in a nice way, I feel like I would really appreciate that compliment. So yes, that is my answer to question number 3. Okay. Number 4, you're suddenly famous for something stupid. What did you do? I feel like, okay, this one's funny, I think. If my husband was going clubbing with his friends and I was not invited, I would probably get caught stalking him to the club and I would probably be on the headlines for wife stalks husband and accidentally stepped on some girl's feet and spilled drinks on her and then they got into a fight. I don't know, but that might happen. Like getting caught for following my husband to the club if I wasn't invited. Yeah, I think that would be my answer here. If you woke up as a brand new person, where would you want to live? The thing is, I really like living in a city. So Singapore is great for me because it's a city, right? I do not want to live in the suburbs because I cannot drive. So I really need to be in a place where public transit is huge. That said, in an ideal world, I would live in Singapore, but Singapore would be much cooler in climates. Like you can wear like long sleeves and like a light jacket kind of temperature. But unfortunately, that's not the reality. So the second part of the question is, what job would you want if you woke up as a brand new person? I mean, I like what I do today, like podcaster, podcast coach, podcast producer. But in an alternate universe, I feel like I might be in healthcare. It might be a doctor, it might be a nurse, it might be a vet. But I feel like I would definitely be in healthcare in an alternate universe. And in that alternate universe, I would not be scared of blood, needles, diseases, because that's what happened in this current lifetime, I did consider a career in healthcare, but I was just like, I don't want to look and touch diseases. But hopefully, if I were to be in an alternate universe, that would not be the case. Oh, and the third part of this question is if you woke up as a brand new person, what superpower would you have? Well, that's easy, teleportation, because then I can get to place from place to place a lot faster. And efficiency is really important to me. Okay. What would you tell baby podcaster Cheryl, the Cheryl who just received her first podcast mic? I would tell her back in 2019 when I got my mic, but I didn't really start the podcast until 2020. But I will tell 2019 or 2020 me that no matter how discouraged I get over the podcast numbers, like how low or how fluctuating the podcast downloads or views are, keep going. I guess I did keep going even without hearing that, but I would tell her, keep going. And I would also tell her to do video faster and earlier. I will tell her to take YouTube more seriously earlier on because I do think that although you can still start an audio only podcast in 2025, I think that for me personally, given my comfort around video, I could and should have started video and YouTube and taken it more seriously even earlier. But is there anything more specific I can give here? I would say I do think that after doing a few guest episodes in person, I do feel like there is a certain energy or dynamic that cannot be replicated through a remote interview. So if you can, I do suggest doing some conversations in person. And whether that is you interviewing a guest or you having a friend who's not a podcaster interview you on your own show, I do think that there is a certain dynamic that is captured when you're having a conversation with someone else in person. So I think now in hindsight, I should have done this Q&A episode with another person and have them ask me the questions. Maybe we'll do that for the next bonus episode. Oh, if we caught you doom scrolling, what would you be watching? So if someone hacked into my TikTok today, I think you would find number one, bags, like handbag videos. That's something that I watch a lot of. So I watch both like luxury handbags and mid-range handbag videos. Another thing that you'll definitely find on my TikTok feed is DJ mixes, right? Usually DJs will post like clips of their live mixes or performances. So I get a lot of those as well. Oh, and a lot of like throwback, right? A lot of videos would be like the top 10 songs from the 2001 year, right? I get a lot of those kind of videos as well. Cat shelter videos actually do pop up on my feed a lot as well. I get a lot of like cat adoption and like very, very sad, very, very painful cat shelter stories as well. If you had looked at my TikTok feed from 3 months ago, I was actually really into like corporate girl vlogs, like a day in the life of corporate girlies who are like vlogging their day, right? Although I'm not thinking of going to corporate, I was really nosy about like, oh, what's their like lifestyle like? Like what happens in like an office setting? Oh, doom scrolling. Okay, I think I did not quite answer that question. So what would I be doom scrolling on specifically? Lately, not much. Like if you had asked me this a year ago, it might be like other coaches. Like I might be creeping on my colleagues and competitors, right? But like I don't do that this year. But if you had asked me this a year ago, you might see like a track record of like me clicking on like other service providers or coaches who are doing similar work as me. Yeah. But I'm proud to say that that doesn't happen as often this year anymore. So, okay. What used to be an insecurity that no longer is? Oh, okay. um, um, this is a physical feature, and it is my nose. I for many years growing up, I really hated my nose because it's, in my opinion, it is on the wider uh, end for like a female nose shape. But I think as we all age and mature, I guess I'm just more used to my face now. It's not as big of a deal as I think it is. Yeah. If anything, my dark eye circles actually is. I feel like a lot of people, my family, for example, my mother-in-law always ask me, "Oh, Cheryl, you look so tired." But like, I'm actually not. I just have like really naturally dark eye circles and like, it just makes me look tired, but like, I'm actually not tired. So like, I think that would be my current insecurity, in present day. Oh, what's an insecurity you still have? Okay, so I said like dark eye circles. Oh, oh, here's another physical feature I'm insecure about, my arms. There's a reason why in most of my podcast episodes on video, I don't wear anything sleeveless. I always have long sleeves because I don't like how my arms look because I don't work on my arms. So they're a bit, you know, but sometimes I do wear a sleeveless shirt if I'm at home recording, because then I can like somehow strategically position my hair and the angle of the webcam. So like my arms don't look as obvious on camera, but more often than not, I just wear a long sleeve. Okay. Next question. What is your pet peeve or most annoying trait about a person? I mean, there's many, but I guess the top of mind one is if they complain a lot, but they're the one doing that thing too. Like if they're complaining about like, oh, my friend is doing XYZ, but they're also doing XYZ, then I'm like, how could you complain about them doing XYZ when you're doing XYZ also? That to me is a bit annoying and a bit hypocritical. Oh, what emoji do you spiritually identify with? It would be the eyes emoji, right? The one that's like looking that way, like that emoji. Because I feel like that's what I feel. I'm always like, oh, oh, what did you mean by that? Or like, oh, tell me more. Or like, oh, what's going on over there? Like that's generally the default in my head. But on the surface, I come off as very calm. But in my head, I'm like, right, like that emoji, right? That eye emoji. Yeah. So on the outside, it's very calm, but like in the inside, I'm like, ooh, ooh, ooh. It's like going everywhere. Okay. I think we got two more questions. What are the three telling first impressions signs of a podcast that is likely to be successful? Okay, let me work through my train of thought here. I think on one hand, first impression, like if you just look at it, I think does it even grab your attention, right? Does the cover art make you think like, oh, what's this? Does the title make you think like, oh, that's clever, right? So like packaging, I think that's something to think about. In terms of like content, does this content actually make you listen from the start to finish, right? If you're like, oh my God, by like the 5th or 10th minute, you're like, I want to click out. That's a pretty telltale sign that like the podcast may not do very well, right? The retention isn't good. The third sign is consistency only if the show is aiming to be a weekly or bi-weekly ongoing show. If they plan to be a seasonal show from the very beginning, then I don't think this applies. But I think if this show was intended to be an ongoing show, but they're like, by episode 7, they're already very discouraged and like they want to quit, that's another sign that the podcast may not do well. One thing I want to say here also is that if you are a very niche podcast, I don't think you should expect to have high numbers for your long form content, right? If you have a very niche topic, I don't think you should expect or aim for like viral numbers on YouTube. But I do think that you could aim for viral or like high numbers in your short form content for the episode, right? Because the long form content, I think the truth is it may not be for everyone, right? So you can't go for like mass appeal numbers if you know that the topic isn't meant for a mass appeal audience. But I do think you could create clever short form content that is creative and hooky and engaging that then grows your other channels like an Instagram or a TikTok or LinkedIn, for example, and build your reputation that way. And then for the certain people who are in that specific audience that you want to target, and they actually listen to your whole entire episode, and that's what lands with them and gets you the next opportunity that you want, whether it's a client or a speaking opportunity or a collaboration. I think that's how you can expect to grow. Okay. last question on today's bonus Q&A. How have your friendships evolved over time? I mean, during school, I didn't really have any friends because I was just so focused on studying. So I can't speak much on that phase of my life. And then once I woke up and I was like, oh, I have no friends because I was too busy studying. And I'm like, I need friends. And this was in my early 20s. Then I started looking for friends. And I ended up being friends of like not the right fit people, right? Their lifestyle was just very, very different from my lifestyle and my personality. And I was really trying to fit myself into their life, their values, their habits, right? Their way of life. And that was some of the worst and hardest years of my life because I felt very fake. And people called me out on it, right? People said, like, oh, you're so fake because I was being fake because I was trying to be someone that I wasn't. I was trying to portray myself as someone I wasn't. I was trying to fit into a lifestyle that wasn't me, right? So, yeah, I will admit that there were times when people called me fake because I was in hindsight. And I felt it at the moments. But now, I think now that I'm building my own business, I've grown my own network here in Singapore. I got to meet people who are doing similar work as me, even people who are not doing similar work as me, right? Like I've gotten to a stage of my life where my friendships feel much more like in line with the circles that I want to be in, the connections I genuinely want to have in my network. Even if I'm just meeting someone from LinkedIn for a coffee chat and like we're not like best friends afterwards, I'm so appreciative of that connection because for that hour or 2 hours that we spend together, it's usually like very wholesome and very fulfilling because we still find overlaps and commonalities that connects us. So going from no friends to like not the right fit friends slash me being fake slash like now feeling not alone anymore, but feeling very connected and genuinely satisfied with the social circles and connections I've built. I think I've come a long way when it comes to friendships. So with that wraps up our bonus episode for today. And yeah, I don't know when we'll record another one of these, but if you enjoyed these episodes, you can DM me your question, anything that you're nosy about, and we'll collect them and answer in the next Q&A episode. Well, with that, thank you so much for listening to this episode of Edits History, and I'll see you all in the next one. Sounds good? Awesome. Let's get to work.